Football with friends is fun as hell. My name is Alex Dunlap here with Cody Carpentier on a big Friday, a Final Takes Friday, a Victory Friday, a pre-SEC Championship Friday, and the Friday that will always be remembered as the day that Texas landed one Justus Terry. Cody, how are you, brother?
Doing fantastic. I'm doing better now than I was this morning. I will say, prior to the Justus Terry thing going down, the only future cast that I had seen that were put in on any service from July until now, everything was put in June. July until now was 3 of them that came in this morning at about 9:30 and 10 o'clock this morning, all Georgia. And I was like, I don't think it's going to happen. And he pulls that shirt out. The rest is history. The rest is history. They got him. They got him.
I can't believe you get your big dog 2 days. It's just, you just have to say it. He's the biggest addition of the whole class. He comes in and he's right at the very top. And like I said, it isn't like this is a deal where you say that he's the crown jewel of the class, because like we've talked about it before. That doesn't give enough respect on guys like Jonah and guys like Lance Jackson and Michael Terry and some of the others, right? But he's definitely the top. He's on the top of the pile, and so everybody knows the rules of Final Takes. We go through all the different. We go through all of our Final Takes. You guys will vote on who you think has the best takes. Hopefully, you vote for Alex because I've been on a bit of a. I think Cody's won the last few weeks. Correct. So we need to get a win this week. I need to have good takes, but I will have a couple questions about Justus Terry. But we need to clearly start out talking about it. So as far as what you think, he's lined up at 5 technique. He's lined up at 3 technique. You see him play all over the line. Do you think he comes in and immediately starts out at 3 tech? Or do you think they play him a little bit at strong side defensive end with Barron Sorrell moving on? Because there you do still have Ethan Burke. You do still have Colton Bosick, those types of players. He's already bigger than those guys.
I think your question has to be, you can bring up your final take. I think you had a final take that basically is surrounded around this. But
yeah, we can just start it if you want.
Might as well. I saw your final take that you had plugged in here about Justus Terry. I think it kind of files along the same lines as this exact take.
Okay, so let me see where I can find it. Okay, will Justus Terry start spring ball with the first team defense? And somebody asked, so he will be here for the spring. Somebody asked in chat who is going to be getting here as an early enrollee, and it's all but 4 guys. The Coleman twins are not going to be here. The tight end Townsend is not going to be here, and the other one was Grayson Littleton.
Okay.
Tampa. The corner from Florida. From where? Florida. Oh, Tampa, Florida. Yep. Those are the 4. Everybody else is going to be here for spring football. So that's my question. Does Justus Terry start spring ball with the first team defense?
I'm going to say no today because of Aaron Bryant and Alex January being on the roster, and not because I believe that these guys are going to be better players than he is potentially in 2025, but because they've been in the system already. Now, the thought is that Justus is going to be at Texas this winter and go through spring. There was a reportedly on Dog Nation this morning, they were talking about him before he made his pick, that he was sick this last week, and that he had missed his games, his high school games, and that he was working on getting healthy and then going in a couple of weeks to go kind of start practicing with the team that he was going to commit to. So if that happens, if he gets onto campus here in the next 3 weeks or post-Christmas or whatever it is, and he gets in this weight training system for the early part of the year, he's listed at 275 right now, which it's the SEC.
I watched back some of his
Big 12. Yeah. If it was the Big 12, I'd say 100% day one, yes. If he's in the Big 12, he's not. I don't think Justus Terry goes to the Big 12 if Texas is in the Big 12. But he's 275. He gets into the Texas weight system. I think through spring, he gets up to 300 pounds, 305, whatever it may be. He's going to put some weight on quick.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to allow him to really compete with January and Bryant, whoever they bring in the portal. I think he'll become a first-team defensive guy through spring camp, but I don't think he starts spring camp as the first-team defense.
I think there's very little chance that he'll come in and be the just spring starter. We've seen it with we've seen Kelvin Banks. Kelvin Banks wasn't an early enrollee, but he came in. I don't think somebody in the chat will check me on that. But he came in and they stuck him at left tackle, first team. And so the reason why I had this question was, okay, they just paid Justus Terry the most that they've ever paid a player, right? They came in with a Godfather offer, like we talked about yesterday. The market's the market. You got to deal with it. If you want to go get the guy, the market's the market. It was all the reporting from. Well, I mean, we know, we talked about it yesterday that was coming, and I still didn't know whether it was going to be enough to really to get it to happen. That's why I said I felt like it was like a 45-55, in favor of Georgia. But the reporting from the Georgia people were just like, you could tell that they talked to their sources and they were like, holy cow, Texas really came with an offer that Georgia was like, what? Yeah, you know what I mean? And so whenever you paid a guy that much, you can't have this be a Brandon Baker where he doesn't play his first year. So he's gonna play, and I think he'll start week 1 of 2025. But they don't. And in the weird way, I think if he was a summer enrollee, I think maybe he would come in and just be the starter right then. But they don't seem to let these dudes that come in the spring come in and just roll in with the ones. You know what I mean? Unless they're the transfer guys like the Isaiah Bonds. What?
He has to earn it. He's going to have to earn it. I mean, was Wingo immediately in there with the ones?
Well, Wingo still doesn't really get in with the one. What I'm saying, he doesn't. He's usually not in the first group that's out there. The first group that's out there is always Bond and Golden.
Right. I think the assumption would be if it was
Colin Simmons
and you just eliminated people that are on the list. I think I would assume today it's January and Bryant and maybe Sadir. Some combination of that is your starting 2. Plus, you have the portal. You have no idea what's going to happen with the portal over the course of the next month. So I think there's that factor. I just think it's going to be a couple, I think it's going to be midway through spring camp. And I think you maybe see a pivot depending on how the weight gain goes and depending on how fast he picks it all up.
That's the other thing. It's like whenever Banks came in and he came in because with these guys that aren't, it's just like it was whenever we were in high school, right? Whenever guys would get recruited to big colleges, like sad sacks like me that would only get recruited to small schools where the scholarship offers were no good and the programs were no good, but we'd still want to be in the weight room, working out in the spring, getting ready to maybe do something that next fall. And you'd be in there with the guy that got the offer from, like Seth McKinney he was heading to Texas A&M. Right. And so Texas A&M would send this giant book of all the exercises that they wanted him to do and what days they wanted him to do them on and stuff like that. So the guys who were in high school, they're still going to get some semblance of the college weight room experience, but it's just not the same whenever you're still not getting the nutrition. You don't have this dude barking down your neck about stuff. You're not in there with the rest of the other dudes. You're not going to push yourself as hard as a college strength and conditioning staff is going to push you through the winter workouts and stuff. So with Justus Terry, I do think that, like you said, I don't think that 20 pounds on him is anything where he's going to have to put it on, where he's going to have to get it on bad. I watched back all of his stuff today. You can see him moving around just in drills and stuff too. I mean, he is long and big and long levered and stuff, but he does have a solid base. It's like, it isn't like he has 50 pounds he can put on. Like, that's not going to happen. He's not going to, I don't think he's ever going to be 325. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be, I think he can get up to 300 maybe as a freshman, and then maybe 315 or something like that. I could be wrong. I'm not sure he's a 325-pound guy. I'm not sure he's going to get to the size of like an Alfred Collins type of player. But I just the way that his frame is, he's more of an angular. I think when he fills out just in just the right way, that looks more like 315 on him. And if he gets to 3, you could play. He could play at 300. He's got explosion and burst, man. He's great fighting with his hands. Really good at getting off blocks. But with Kelvin, whenever he came in, it wasn't like he needed to get up to any kind of, he was already big enough to play whenever he got here. I think Justus Terry, it's not only the whole thing about having to earn your stripes, but also having to just get a slight bit bigger. So I don't think he starts either. Not to start the spring. Oh my gosh, we got a big super chat here from Money B. Money B, our dude. Money B. Thanks, brother. $25. Yeah, dude. Definitely, man. If you want us to just drop everything and get the super chat, send a super chat. Money B says it's fun as hell. Get ready to lick. Get ready
say that right. Say it right.
Ready to get our lick back or our luck back.
Lick back. Getting the lick back.
What does that mean? Is that something?
He took a licking. He took a licking from Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Lick back.
Get our lick back against UGA. I need to get my lick back against Money B and Cornhole. That guy comes to Texas Beef Traders and beats me on my own board, man. It hurts. CL and ATL, outside of the super blue chip signees, who are you most excited or feel is underrated about in this class? That's a good question.
Well, dude, did Lance Jackson just become the most, like, he was like the most underrated. His ranking has now become nearly properly rated. And now Justus Terry signs with Texas, and now Lance is just kind of like back in the back seat.
Not in my world. I mean, if that can be my answer.
Everyone's like, Justus Terry. And it's like, yes, Justus Terry, Cade Phillips, these big, Michael Terry. Yes, great. But Lance Jackson, remember, everything we heard at Media Days from Landon. What did Landon tell us? He said, this kid's going to have a different advantage everybody else doesn't have. Not only is he going to enroll early, he also has been training with his brother, who is a SEC all-conference player in Arkansas, weighs 300 pounds, in the same frame, and Lance's frame is better. And he's already – the key thing is Landon said, I'm already teaching him drills that nobody else knows, that only people with, like, me, like a family member in the SEC doing these drills, preparing to play on day one. These are two. Again, I don't know what Lance is going to weigh. He's listed at 260 as well. Imagine if that kid comes in and he's 300 pounds, and Justus comes in at 300 pounds, and all of a sudden you got these two just 5-star sickos.
I mean, it's good. It is going to be those. It's going to be those two guys.
And Simmons and Anthony Hill and Jonah Williams. Oh, sorry. Would you like me to stop?
You only get Ant Hill. You only get Ant Hill for one more season.
That's bro. Okay. That's okay. Yeah. I'm sure Ant Hill's gonna love the hell out of next year.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be something else. And if Sadir Mitchell can continue to if he can continue to, I mean, that guy's only played a little bit this year, but Sark said some of his best practices came in these last few weeks, and it really, really showed out in the Kentucky game, right? It's just like, getting in the first half and, making awesome run stuffs, and it's just really, really, really good to see. If I wasn't going to say Lance Jackson's the obvious one, if I wouldn't say him, I would say that, do you think Daylon McCutcheon gets overshadowed by Jamie French and by Khalil Lockett and Michael Terry?
Yeah, but I think that's a little bit expected. McCutcheon's going to be in the Whittington, DeAndre Moore role, which is the overshadowed.com role. Like, you just know that's coming. I mean, it's expected. And I think McCutcheon's got every bit of talent. Like, I know, obviously, Witt was a high-end prospect. DeAndre Moore was a high-end prospect. McCutcheon is a high-end prospect. Like, but that's just it's kind of my expectation at this point.
I love McCutcheon, man. So I think maybe if people, I mean, I think he's a bigger signee than DeAndre Moore whenever he came. So we'll see if people don't think about him like that. I think maybe he's a little bit underrated too. All right. Thank you very much for the super chat, Money B. Always appreciate it, brother.
Can I read you one stat before we move on to the other thing? Is today I put up a column. I usually put up on Wednesday. Usually it's players to watch. I kind of pivoted because there's so much content out this week. I didn't do players to watch because we've already talked about Georgia, etc. I updated some numbers I did back in the summer pertaining to recruiting against the state. So you can see like Texas is now kind of taking over the top domain of top 5, top 10, top 20, how they've recruited inside the state. But this other side of things, which is the final statistics. So comparing Sark's cycles versus the last 10 years. So 2010 to 2021 versus 2022 to 2025. In those first 10 years, or 12 years, I should say, 12 cycles, Texas recruited 11 5-stars to campus. In the last 4 years, Sark has 10. 4 top 5 classes versus 5 the previous 11 years. Here's the one that caught my attention, though, the most, Alex. Between 2019 and 2021, there was 12 recruits signed with a grade of 5.6 or below from rivals. 12.
What is 5.6 again?
It's like a 3-star. So 6.0 is like so if you look at like the ratings right now, so like 6'1", 6'1", 6'1" is William or Jonah, French, and Justus. 6'0 is Lance. 5'9 is like KJ Lacey, Barnes, Simon, Sharma, Lockett, McCutcheon, Grayson Littleton, Cade Phillips, Michael Terry. All those are 5'9s. Those are all high-end 4-stars. Like 5'7", 5'6 is like a 3-star. And it kind of goes down in like this. So 5'6 was the number here, right? So total recruits graded 5.6 or below. In 2019 to 2021, so that's 4 cycles, 12 players were recruited at the 5.6 or below.
2019 to 2021 is 3 cycles, right?
2019, 2020, and 2021. Yes, 3 cycles, sorry.
Yeah.
12. 2022, 2023, 2024 was 5.
Wow.
2025, 1 singular out of 25 recruits was a 5.6 or below.
Who was that? Caleb Chester?
Devin Coleman.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Which makes the most sense. But what I'm telling you is that the levels of this thing, you can see. I mean, it makes sense with the NIL and with SEC and stuff, but I think it's mad impressive. And if you look over, obviously the previous, before Sark was in town, 2019 to 2021, A&M ran the state as far as the top 5 kids in the state, top 10, top 15. Bama, Ohio State was stealing the cornbread. Texas was like second among top 20 players, 5th among top 10 players in the state to sign. Now they're number 1 amongst all those things since Sark has taken over. It's just a vast difference for obvious reasons. Speaking
of that, let me just ask you. Let me throw up another final take on this. Speaking of just that, it's like even though we ride and we do, like, Orange Bloods is rivals, right? It's rivals. We always mention rivals. Rivals is best. But even though Texas has the number 2 recruiting class in the rivals rankings, you still kind of think of it as the number 1 class because all the other sites have them first place.
I think you call it consensus, right? If 3 out of 4 have it, that's consensus.
Yeah, well, I was just reading. It was just, I suppose I was reading. I was looking on The Athletic today, and it was on the front page of The Athletic saying, like, Texas lands Justus Terry to vault itself to the number 1 class, and then expanding on the number 1 class, and then they might have had him number 1 before even that.
They did. So all 247 and On 3 had Texas number 1, and then they were like, I think yesterday they were 5th or 6th on Rivals, and then this morning with Justus Terry, it vaulted them to 2, and then with those other platforms, they just widened the margin at number 1. The biggest difference on Rivals is that Oregon, I think Oregon is 3rd on those other platforms. Oregon is number 1 on Rivals. Their 5 stars are DeCorian Moore, Trey McNutt, which I believe Trey McNutt, and maybe.
Is he related to Marvin McNutt?
Marvin McNutt was so sick, dude.
Yeah, he was good. Well, I mean, he wasn't that good in the NFL.
No, he was sick at Iowa.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So Trey McNutt's a 4-star at 2.4. Yeah. So it just did. That's the big thing. I think it just differs some of these top end guys, how they're graded per platform, obviously, and Oregon's the one, and also scoring I think probably matters a little bit, but yeah, I think Oregon's number 1 at Rivals and 3 and everywhere else, and Texas is 1 everywhere else except for Rivals were there too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like whenever I like think back about this class, I'm going to think back about this class as the top ranked class in the nation.
Have to.
I mean, it's all right. So you got any final takes you want to throw out, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll rip one. Here we go. All right. Let's just jump right into the Texas. Actually, no, let's go here first. Thoughts on the ticket prices for Sunday or for Saturday? Sorry.
Man, I've went and looked. So I was on the secsports.com looking for some of the trying to find where the transcripts were from yesterday, so I could have those, just preparing for the show, so I could have the notes from Sankey and stuff like that. And it said like SEC championship in Atlanta. Click here for tickets. I'm like, well, I'm not going, but like, look, I'll just click on it and see kind of what's going on. And dude, there are still some decent tickets available, but I mean, if you want to get stuff that's like nothing on the lower level, really, that I could tell, I could be wrong, but like at least on the lower level, that's between the 30s or whatever. But there was some stuff in the is that the club level that's sort of between where the fancy boxes are and the lower level. It's like club level, or it's kind of the level that we sit at when we're at the combine, right? Some of those, like on the 30-yard line, were available, and they were $600 each. And I thought to myself, well, that sounds about like how much it should be to get a good seat to a game like this. People were paying $1,000 to get into Kyle Field.
Yeah. So the question I had was, I did about a couple hours ago, about noon today, I did a little cheapest ticket to get in, cheapest get in price for all the conference championships. SEC was $139 at the time. This was at noon on SeatGeek. $139, highest amongst all the conference championships. The next highest conference championship, and there's a whole tier of them right here in the same grouping. Remember, $139 for the SEC in Atlanta. ACC, $59, cheapest get in. Sun Belt, $58. Mountain West, $48. Big 12, $32. Notice I haven't said a conference yet. Well, there's this one conference I haven't said yet.
Which one did you leave out? Dude, Big
10.
Big 10?
$30 you can get into the Big 10 championship, Oregon versus Penn State in Indianapolis.
And that's in Indy.
Yeah.
Is it a Lucas Oil?
Yeah. The American Championship, $24. That's in West Point. The MAC Championship in Detroit, $13. And Conference USA, $8. Jacksonville State hosts that one in Jacksonville. Is it Alabama? Yeah, right. Jacksonville State, Alabama.
Yeah.
So $139. And the next tier down is everybody else. ACC, 59, Sun Belt, 58, 48, blah, 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 blah. It just means more. It's a little bit different.
Scott in Texas is saying he's seeing 74 plus on StubHub. So it's even drop. It's kind of starting to.
I thought about driving over there. My wife just got home and I said, "Hey, what are the odds you want to drive to Atlanta in the morning?" She has to work all night. She's on the call until like 6 a.m. I said, "What are the odds you want to drive to Atlanta in the morning? It's 5 hours." She's like,
"You probably could have gotten credentialed if you'd have wanted to go." You know what I mean?
I should have thought about that 3 weeks ago, but I didn't really.
You'd have to sit up in the press box with all the journos.
Yeah, great. Pass, not done.
Yeah, but dude, but it is an SEC event, so you know that they're gonna knock it out with like all the great, like it won't be just the regular bad food like the NFL gives us, dude. The SEC is the bomb about that stuff. All right, somebody was asking us if we're gonna do prize picks for one of mine's about prize picks for the NFL weekend. When does the
I think it's like 5 minutes, doesn't it?
What?
I think the Boise UNLV game's in 5 minutes, isn't it?
Let me just look and see because if it is, I do want to get some in on that because I want to have some action on it. Let me just look and see.
I think it's so UNLV and Boise starts in 33 minutes. Army and Tulane is also 33 minutes.
Okay, so we can do that after a while.
Okay.
And I'll need your help with it because there's only one that I really know that I want. Okay.
I think Genty needs like 301 or 299 yards to get second all time.
It isn't Genty I want, man. I want that UNLV quarterback rushing.
Haj Malik Williams.
Yeah. What is his rushing line, I wonder?
Uh,
We can
60,
talk about it after a while.
60.
Yeah, he's gonna go for 100 yards. Okay. Final takes. I got to get rid of that one. Okay, how about this, dude? Will Mike Gundy take a pay cut to stay at Oklahoma State?
I don't think he should. I just saw something a minute ago that potentially was he got fired. I thought it was like Poker Report or something, but that might have been wrong because it wasn't a national report. I don't think he should. And we talked about this earlier.
When's the last time you heard about a coach doing that? Like a coach has never done this. It's like so emasculating. It's like you'd be the eunuch walking around that school. You kidding me?
Well, they did say that like the money that he would, it's so stupid. They said the money that he would renegotiate and drop would be used for them going all in NIL. And I'm like, well, Oklahoma State going all in NIL doesn't look the same as it does for a majority of other schools. And I think earlier when we talked about this after our other show of a roster watch, I was like, I mean, dude, this guy would feed families coaching at Chapel Hill in North Carolina. I think it's a different level. We've talked about this. We talked about this a week and a half ago when that job opened up with Mac. Was what level is North Carolina at? I think North Carolina's the level above Oklahoma State, right?
I would if Stillwater versus Chapel Hill, and
that's not even close. But
I mean, Oklahoma State's not an that's never been an easy school just to go win. I mean, Gundy's revamped that thing. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you go in there and you win, that means you should have a little bit more respect than that. My brother-in-law went to undergrad there, and I mean, he's disappointed about the year. You know, I talked to him a little bit about it at Christmas.
Yeah, it's the only year under 500 in his career since his first season there.
Yeah, but he's like, you know, I didn't get the sense from him that he thought that Gundy should be like fired or the school needed to make a change or something. You know, he's just like, I was just kind of asking him about Ollie Gordon and what the hell happened. And he's like, well, what the hell is going to happen with this team? You know, it's like he plays on a really bad team. You know,
they're implode if he's gone, if Mike Gundy's gone.
Yeah, I was like, you know, and who are you gonna bring in?
Brandon Whedon.
Is Whedon a coach?
I have no idea. It just sounded.
He's got to be like 50 by now. Yeah. No, crazy, man. So I don't know. I don't think, and maybe I'm just being stupid. I can't think of a time where they went to a coach during a time that the coach was doing bad, and they said, "Look, we're going to take some of your money away from you, and we're going to put it towards something else, and we're going to justify it by saying it's going to help you to win." You know what I mean? I've never heard of that. And the fact of the matter is, if you're in that spot, I would just let him pay my buyout and just go, dude. Gundy he's with the amount of money that he's made. If he's not a complete just degenerate who's just a financially illiterate fool, he's set for life. He's set for life. How long has he been there? He's like in his 50s now, and like he was already kind of getting things going when he was telling them that I'm a man. I'm 40. I mean, he's had a long run there, dude. And so, like, why not? And guess what he would be great at? You know what he would be great at?
Media.
And if he didn't want to do media, do you know what else he would be great at?
Calling games.
Oklahoma politics.
Oh,
he could win statewide elections super easy. There's a million things that he could go do. A million things. He does not need to take a pay cut. People there love him. You know what I mean? I would love hearing him talk about the games. So laid back, dude. He presents like the kind of guy that you want to sit down at the bar and have a beer and talk football with. I'd love to have him on the show. So I mean, it's like I think he would just say, "I'm just a pay cut." That's the deal where I walk out of the room and I say, you guys can figure out what you're going to do here.
I hope they fire him. I want to see him go somewhere else, like North Carolina. I think that'd be ideal for him. So I think ideal to his success.
Yeah. Money B saying they're about to reach out to the T-Boone Pickens family. And from what my brother-in-law says, and look, this isn't, I don't know. I think he died. And so Cody, can you look that up? I don't want to say that T-Boone Pickens is dead. I would look it up, but there's something going on
He
with my
died
mouth.
2019.
Okay. But from what my brother-in-law said is that, and I need to get this mouse figured out, by the way. You don't realize how much you use your mouse until it goes out.
Mine dies like once every like 9 weeks. And I'm like, gosh, in the middle of a show. Thanks.
He was saying that they were in some trouble because T-Boone Pickens' family is not they're not as into it as he is. They have other things that they'd like to do with their money.
Makes sense.
I don't know if they can really go to it. I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like that. It doesn't seem like this is a season like a season of the life of Oklahoma State in their athletic program to where they're going to be able to go kind of raid those coffers the way that they have, over the course of the last, quarter century or so. All right.
I like that. I got a question right off of the same thing with Oklahoma State. Final takes. Ollie Gordon declared to the draft today. He's a late second round pick. Maybe.
I mean, what did he do this year? Now, Chris told my brother-in-law told me, he said that offensive line just stinks and nobody could be able to run behind him. Mm-hmm. But what are his stats?
880 yards on the ground, 4.6 per carry.
That's better than I would have thought. I swear to God, Cody, I would have told you that he ran for less than 600.
It seemed like it. You never heard him. You never saw him in the news. He had that one game when I was at your house. Was that BYU that we watched?
Actually, he looked like Ollie Gordon for a minute in that game.
Yeah, for like what the 2 drives like before halftime, and then they didn't. Remember I think I took a live line for him because I think he had like almost 100 yards in the first half. I was like live line like 170, and the guy didn't touch the ball hardly twice in the second half.
Yeah,
and they lost.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he's still a second round pick. I think.
When were guys like? I mean, weren't guys like Alexander Madison and stuff taken in the 3rd round? Keyshawn Vaughn, this type of player. He's a better prospect than that.
Well, he's also. I mean, I think his birthday is January, so he turned 21 in January.
Ollie Gordon's going to be a day 2 pick, late day 2.
Chuba was drafted.
No, he's not a 2nd round pick. He's a 3rd round pick.
Chuba was a 4th rounder.
Chuba might have been a better.
Chuba also ran for 2 racks. Chuba ran for 2 racks that one year, and then the next year ran for 625.
Yeah,
similar.
It's kind of like Gordon, right? It's kind
the difference is that Chuba had a red shirt at the front end of that whole thing. Red shirt, 742 racks, 600. Ollie was just 700, 2 racks, 800.
I think he goes in the 3rd round. I think it's like late 3rd. I think it's late 3rd. So I'm not gonna say late 2nd. I'm thinking probably late in the 7 o'clock hour. I'm gonna have some ribs coming off of the old Weber. I'm smoking them in the Weber beef ribs. I talked to you about them yesterday. Beef back ribs. They look great, guys. I got them at Texas Beef Traders right there in the heart of Lakeway, right off of Loman's Crossing. Darren says, try these things out, man. You never get these because it's basically the ribs cut off the bottom of the rib roast, which has the ribeye on it. So it's like if you've ever had a rib roast with the ribeye and stuff, you know how good those ribs taste on the bottom. I think smoking these things is going to make them awesome. So that's just one thing that you can get there. They have a million different things at Texas Beef Traders. I tell you about them. Every single person that I've spoken to or anybody who's been there in the chat they'll tell you how good it is, man. Like we don't advertise for them for our own health, right? Even though very healthy, very good for you. No vaccines, no mRNA stuff, no weird cockamamie shots or steroids or antibiotics, none of this stuff. Just grass fed, grass finished. When they can grass finish them, like we always say, when it's a drought, you do what you do, but it's always human grade, it's always non-GMO, it's always organic feed given by bovine nutritionists. And I tell you all this, and you would think that, oh gosh, man, a pound of ground beef there probably cost me $10. No, it's like $4. And you get 10% off whenever you tell them that you heard about them right here on Football with Friends. So make sure and check them out. Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com. Scan that QR code, get 10% off. And look, if you live in the Austin area, a lot of you are starting to do this. I'm not sure how much it's going to be able to be sustainable, but for now, you can just call Darren up. You can make the order, TexasBeefTraders.com, get your 10% off. And even if it's just like a pack of steaks, you want to buy like a little box with just like 5 steaks in it or something, and some ground beef, you get 10% off. He'll just bring it to your house. It's like a free delivery. Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com. I don't know about that should sell itself. Okay. You got any other final takes you want to get to, Cody? Or wait, did you ask the last one?
I just asked the last one. You can go.
Okay.
You got voting up as well. The top name's the best name. Just a reminder.
Okay. I'm not sure which one that is. You and I both have Bill Belichick questions. Should I just ask mine? Okay. Let's talk about Belichick at UNC. So Belichick is the GOAT, but he probably wouldn't be a great college coach at UNC, right?
I think he would be.
Really?
The way I questioned it was, he's dead serious. Is he dead serious is the question. I think he is. Lombardi, I saw a little clip up of Michael Lombardi, his good friend, former GM with him, had a take on it, and he compared college ball to what the NFL is. And everyone's like, well, his friend, Belichick's friends with Saban, and Saban just left, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but you remember Saban didn't like the fact that it was different when he went from college to the NFL, and guys wanted money, and guys were lined up outside his door trying to get paid. And then in college now at Alabama, now people are trying to get paid. Like, that's not what Saban wanted. Belichick's used to it. He's used to these guys getting paid. I'm not saying he would be an elite recruiter, but I think he would still be successful. I think he could still build a brand. And obviously we saw his son, Steve, be the defensive coordinator for Washington this year. I saw a report, and I'll bounce it right back to you right now. My answer to you is probably wouldn't be a great college coach at UNC. I think he would. I think he would, because he'd have the monetary backing, and I think he'd have support, and I think he would work as long as he wants. I think it's a good place to retire, I think, for him. And Steve, let me backtrack this. The thing I read today was that the interview went well, and that Belichick essentially said he would want Steve to be hired with him, essentially as the head coach in waiting. So Bill would get to coach as long as he wanted, and then Steve would automatically take over when Bill decided to depart. And I think that would have to work together for him to take that job.
I think in theory. So here's how I think it could work. I think Belichick, with the fact that coming up, they're going to have a salary cap, they're going to have all this stuff, right? And that's something that he's completely adept at managing. He's an NFL head coach who has the best experience doing that, because he was also the general manager. And so it's like he was wearing every single hat. He's the GOAT. He's the best. He's learned how to actually wear both those. That's an impossible thing to do. He did the impossible, and he wins six Lombardi trophies.
Yep.
Thanks in large part to Tom Brady, but Brady doesn't get all those without Belichick. And I mean, that's the ball. They're going to argue about that in Boston bars for ages, but those you don't get all those without both. Here's what I think, though. He's elite at culture building in the NFL. And I think regardless of um, how much the behind the scenes stuff of college football becomes business-like and becomes transactional, and it's becoming more that way, clearly, I think at the college level, just with the age of the players, I think you have to be a little bit more of a I think is the culture that you need to build needs to be a culture where you're a little bit um you have to actually I think you have to actually really I think these coaches, man, that are successful, I think they actually really do have to care about shaping young men into good future citizens and caring about them one day being good fathers and being good leaders in their community. And like, I actually kind of think that that's important. Not just on a human level. We all know that that's important on a human level, right? But what I'm saying is, I kind of think it's important to building the actual culture of the program. I think they have to have that kind of feeling like the coach is a little bit of a kind of dad figure to them. And I'm not sure that Belichick, even though he can manage the cap and he can build a culture in the NFL where it's like we're going to go by these marching orders, blah blah. I don't think anybody's ever gonna look at Belichick and think about him like have this relationship with him where they look up to him, and whenever he gets disappointed in them, they get that feeling not like when one of your coaches disappointed in you, but that feeling almost like when your dad's disappointed in you, which is
Yeah.
one of the worst. And so I'm not sure. I think because he can outsource the recruiting. He can be like, dude, go find me the guy at Alabama that's the youngest, hottest guy that can make all the memes and do all the stuff like that. I'll tell him the players that we need to go after. We're going to get the best recruiting coordinator. We're going to do all this. I'll get on the phone with him. I say, hey, it's Bill. And do my little talking to him. I'll go do the visits, all the rest of the stuff. But we're going to have this thing coordinated to where everything is, all the T's are, crossed, the I's are dotted. Like, Belichick's going to have that done like that. He's going to have everybody know that they're accountable for this and this and this. I just don't know at the very tip of the spear, at the very head of the program, that somebody that is not going to build culture in a way that just starts out with saying, look, the first thing we're going to do is develop you as a man. And then after that, we're going to develop you as a football player. I think that I'm not sure it would work. So
His girlfriend is 24.
Well, is she really 24 and is he still dating her?
Yeah, they were just on a red carpet, I think, last week. So I mean, maybe she'll take on a role, as what kind of role could she take on as some type of director of recruiting or something?
Maybe, dude. I don't know. Oh man! All right, you got a final or wait.
This was your
one since that was basically yours, or do you have one that you want to do?
Let me see here. Here, let me ask you this one quick. You are shocked that Hayden Connor's PFF pass blocking grade is almost equal to Kelvin Banks. He's got a 90.
No, not at all.
Everybody else in the line is below 90. Hayden Connor and Kelvin are both 90 and above.
Yeah, I mean, Hayden Connor finished higher than Kelvin in snaps per disruption allowed this season. Like, it doesn't surprise me at all. It's like Hayden Connor's played really well. He's going to get drafted.
Made a lot of money too,
dude. I mean, yeah, man. No, that does not surprise me. Did he grade out higher than Kelvin?
No, Kelvin was like a half point higher, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So no, it doesn't. And I think probably what goes into their grades, they don't tell us. The Wizard of Oz is these geniuses at PFF. They don't tell us what happens to the grades. But I would think that with the pressure stats that I have, I would think they're probably pretty close to theirs. And even though they don't look at, TFLs or run stuffs or anything like that, like, they do look at quarterback hits, quarterback sacks, and quarterback pressures the same way that I do. And when they've probably looked at those and seen that he's allowed the least on the team, and that probably goes into a lot of the pass blocking grade. And yeah, so I know it's just like, I think, dude, I think Hayden Connor's had a great year. That offensive line's been a treasure, man. They've just been really, really good. All right, let's see here. Do I have any on here about how about this, dude? Does Arch Manning play triple the snaps he played versus A&M versus Georgia?
What do you have, 4?
3.
Yep.
I kind of think he plays triple.
Yep.
I think they're going to get off probably 60 plays in this game. I think he gets in for like 9 of them. How would you most like to see Arch Manning used?
I played the 5th.
Why?
I played the 5th.
Oh, because you're saying that you would just like to see him. I would like to see him used on. Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna be honest, you want me to lie? I played the 5th.
Okay. Yeah. Knowing that Quinn's the starter, how would you most like to see Arch Manning used?
I'd like to see Arch Manning used with Quinn Ewers as the starting quarterback on a half dozen plays in the first half where their RPOs, maybe 1 or 2 planned direct runs, not RPOs, 4 RPOs. And I'd like to see him throw the ball twice. I'd like to see him shoot the moon twice.
Yeah, man.
Shoot one to Golden and shoot one to Wingo, and maybe run the ball 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, man. I want to see him pull it, and I want to see him pull it and not run, and blast one. Right? It's just like I want to see one of those arch deep balls again, dude. We're gonna get to see a lot of them next year. We're gonna see a lot of them next year, for sure. You're probably, honestly, next year, I think that you're going to still be seeing Cody and I wearing a lot of these poncho shirts. They're the best. They are the best looking shirts that you can find. And I couldn't believe it, Cody. I got on there today just to try and buy some new hoodies because I'm always having to wear that same hoodie that you're wearing right now. Here, I'll take this down so people can see this hoodie. I'm the only color I have is that same color that you have, and I feel like I wear it like every day on the show. And so, yeah, so I was like, I got on there to get a new one, and this just goes to show you about Poncho. Like I always say, they never run sales. They never, like on Black Friday, they send an email saying like, we'll give you a free sticker if you buy a shirt. It's like, it's like that's our best sale of the year. Nothing's ever on clearance. And I go there, and they're sold out of hoodies. They have one color that's not even. You have to like click through a bunch of stuff to even find this color. I don't even like it that much, but I'm gonna have to buy it because I need another poncho hoodie. That's how good this stuff is. If you buy one, it's like that is buttery soft fabric that's made out of recycled plastics somehow, and they say that's what makes them so soft. It's Poncho Outdoors is just incredible clothes, man. You guys really, really should check them out. Make sure and check them out because it's like if you want something from there and you think it's always going to be there, it's like it's not. People like them and they buy them up. So check out Poncho Outdoors, and whenever you buy it too, if you could let them know in the comment section, it'll say where have you heard about us. If you could say Orange Bloods Live, that would be fantastic. So thanks again to Poncho and Poncho Outdoors. This is funny, like. So Garrison 5 says Micah of Hudson or Barry and Brown.
Nick Anderson.
Texas isn't going after Barry and Brown.
Nope. Or Micah.
Do you think has that been the deal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll need to ask you about that afterwards because I was under the impression that there was still a hint of maybe something there.
I think it was brought up in teams, but it was similar thought to the Asbarian.
Huh.
Similar impression.
Okay. Well, Barry is not happening.
Mm-hmm.
Did they say anything about Nick Anderson? We can't
Nick
talk
Anderson
about it.
Just got in today. Nick Anderson actually, kind of a weird story, essentially, because obviously he had his freshman year, he got hurt. Sophomore year, he went for 700 yards, caught that touchdown against Texas. This year, he got hurt in fall camp. Very weird story. I just listened to this. I was listening to the Oklahoma pod like about 2 hours ago to kind of get this little bit of intel here. Nick Anderson got hurt in fall camp, and the Oklahoma training staff wouldn't give him an MRI. And so he went and sought out his own therapist and got ready. And he tried to get his therapist to work with their therapist or whatever to do recovery. They said they both agreed that he was ready to go against Tennessee. He re-injures it. So then he goes and gets an MRI from his own therapist. Again, not the school. Finds out he has a torn quad or torn. I think it was torn quad. Yes. And then that, I mean, essentially that's just kind of why there's a very big disconnect between the training staff and Nick Anderson. And I guess he just wants a fresh start, but he's a stud. I mean, I loved him coming into the year.
I hope Texas gets him.
I would.
Yeah.
Him and Ryan Wingo splitting, not splitting snaps, but like running, interchangeably.
Cody, this guy wants to know if you've ever worked out. This guy, the liftard lunacy.
Well, I mean, Ty Anthony Smith, linebacker.
And to be fair, we didn't say add 25 pounds of lean muscle by spring. We say add 25 pounds of lean muscle by fall camp.
Literally nobody said he's going to do it by spring. It is more fact through spring. And Ty Anthony Smith literally got to campus in the spring this past year, weighed 198. And I believe, Alex, on day one of training camp, he was 221. So that's a 23-pound gain for a below average linebacker, below average size linebacker. This man right here is 265, 275 pounds. I'll tell you this right now, libtard lunacy. I've personally gained 20 pounds in a 2-month span while powerlifting, drug-free, no steroids. It's called eating meat and rice and drinking your protein and taking your vitamins and being a real American in the weight room and just doing things. Like it's just
what's the most reps that you ever did at 225?
33.
Yeah.
Which is like, 95th or 97th percentile for linebackers.
Let's just dunk on this guy. What is your squat max?
711. USAPL drug-free, drug tested over a dozen times.
Yeah. And what was your highest ever national ranking in powerlifting?
Number 3.
All right. But no, man.
25 pounds of lean mud. You can't get.
None of us have ever worked.
These kids are literally 17 years old, Alex.
Yeah.
They're in there. I mean, this is the.
They don't need drugs. They got the best drugs in the world running through their body. They got the stuff that dudes my age are going down to Total Men's and B Cave to get injected and put in pellets in their butts and stuff like that, dude. They got that thing coursing through their veins, dude. Like, gosh, to be an 18-year-old again. My goodness. Dude, the show's almost over. We have to do prize picks.
Prize picks. Haj Malik Williams, your quarterback from UNLV, 60.5 rushing yards. He's broke at 3 of the last 5 games. Nevada, Hawaii, and Boise. He had 100 in each of those games.
Okay, so he's going
number
over.
1 on our list?
Yes. I just know that when I've watched him, he's a crazy good runner. What's his name, though? Williams?
Haj. H-A-J-J. Haj
Malik. 60.5. I'm going to turn it into a demon.
Look at the sack on this donkey.
What?
I said, look at the sack on this donkey.
Why not give it a try?
Sure.
And then what? So I'm going to go. I'm going to boost this up to 89.5 yards. It's cold there, man. He's going to have to run. And
he had 100. Genty at 128 on 33 carries against UNLV. His worst yards per carry on the season, 3.9 against UNLV the last time at UNLV.
I was hearing though in this game though, like he faced the least whenever they first played him. They played the least stacked boxes against him in that, and he still had trouble with it. So does UNLV have a good run defense?
I don't admittedly don't watch UNLV in my spare time.
Does Ashton Genty doesn't? Do you think he's going to go for 171?
I don't know. He needs to go for 300.
You think he's going to go for?
Because they're going to get bounced in the first round of the playoffs. He needs to go for 300 today, and then he'll be within 150 striking distance of Barry.
Do you think he's going to go for 300?
Part of me wants to do a little two-headed monster right here.
Oh, he won't let you do a higher.
Give us one.
What?
What the hell?
it won't let you go higher because they know that that's just too. They know that they would lose money on it. So I think that means I need to take the more. Right?
Yes.
That's what I'm doing. And I'll get a this pays me a 5x because I boosted that up to 89.5. So I'm gonna see if I can play 30 here to make 150 on this thing. And we'll get that submitted.
Oh shit. I almost just put $205 on that. That wouldn't have been good.
Did you get in on that one with me?
Yeah, I just about put $205 on it on accident.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. All right. Who won final takes?
Final takes and poll. Tight one. 30 votes. 16
900 people. Oh, close to 1,000 people watching and only 30 votes.
Nobody votes. Everyone hates us. I don't understand it. 30 votes, 16 for Alex, 14 for Cody, 53%.
Final takes champion.
Just a reminder. Alex did win the last time we played Georgia.
Oh, well, that was it. Texas Beef Traders.
Yep, and you won.
Yeah, but I don't think that has anything to do with the game. That just has to do with I come big for the big games. That's all.
All right.
All right. Now you can email us, fwfemails@gmail.com. You can find Cody on X at Cody Carpentier. You can find me at Alex Dunlap NFL. Please remember to like the show and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, there's almost 1,000 people watching right now between X and the Orange Bloods Live YouTube channel. We know that most of our views come the next day. And so welcome into people who are watching the next morning here. We can't thank you guys enough, but of course we can't thank the chat enough for being here and being with us through the show and keeping the show so lively and fun. We're here to have fun. We're here to talk get in, talk football, get out, not waste your time with any kind of filler, any kind of fluff. We take a lot of time to make sure we're prepared for the show and we have the topics lined out, but the chat does really help us with your different ideas and thoughts. So thank you guys so much for being here, dude. We appreciate you all very much. We hope you guys have a great weekend and enjoy some football. We hope you can enjoy Texas being in an SEC championship, man. We have a lot that we're blessed with, and just being able to be here in America and be free and watch football and eat meats. There's nothing like it, man. God bless you guys. God bless your families. For Cody, I'm Alex. We're done.